with that down out of the way, guys, let's get into this first topic. This first topic here that we're gonna get into is some DCEU news has come out that Jared Leto's Joker. I'm gonna kind of combine these three stories, and we can just kind of go at it because there's three things that kind of go hand in hand with this. So we got Jared Leto's Joker returning, but returning in the Snyder Cut, which is interesting because he wasn't in the original version of Justice League by any means, and doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to what he would be doing, like the Joker as a character, what he would do in the Justice League. So I don't know. We'll get into that in a minute too, but the same concept goes for Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke is now also returning in the Snyder Cut, which again, I don't really know what Deathstroke could be adding to the Justice League film, because we know, despite the Snyder Cut being like its own thing in a lot of ways, the majority of the film was obviously already shot when the original Justice League film came out. I know some things got recut and reshot by Joss Whedon, by virtue of Warner Brothers wanting all that to happen and everything, but the concept of the movie, the basic principle of the movie is like apocalypse, Steppenwolf, Darkseid, invasion on Earth. So where would Joker and Deathstroke really fall into that equation?
Yeah, where would they fit?
Yeah, what would they really be adding? And I have a theory on it, which goes into this other thing, this other third topic, and we're going to unwrap all this stuff in a minute. But there's been rumors that Ben Affleck has signed on to do like HBO Max exclusive stuff as Batman. So it's rumors, and it hasn't been confirmed by any no varieties or deadlines, and no reputable sources have kind of confirmed this. Ben hasn't confirmed it or anything like that. But this harkens back to some stuff that I've been wanting to happen for I don't know years at this point. But even on the show, like I've said this numerous times, like it'd be great to finally get that Ben Affleck Batman solo movie. Like that's like Ben Affleck was my favorite Batman. I know that's controversial to say, but he was my favorite Batman, and what he was planning on doing with his Batman movie had me very excited. With Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke was going to be the main bad guy in it, and all this stuff. And I was just excited to see it, and not to mention Ben Affleck is one of the best working directors right now. In all honesty, like he's made some incredible movies, so I just wanted to see him write, direct, and star in a Batman movie, because that's just be kismet. So with that, if you want to even that aside, but with this rumor going along, what I've been saying, my only conclusion to why Joker and Deathstroke would be included in the Snyder Cut of Justice League all of a sudden would be if they are actually, in fact, going to be setting up Ben's Batman stuff. You know what I mean? That's really the only thing I can think of, because, like I said, what is Joker going to add to the Justice League story? What is Deathstroke going to add to the Justice League story? Because the story is the Justice League fighting off the forces of Apocalypse. So their inclusion, I don't know, like what it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like what they would actually be used for, and then the story stuff aside, when you actually just think about like Jared Leto and Joe Manganiello coming back at all, like why would they come back to do like one scene, or just what kind of like what I said, like what could they be doing, and why would both of them come back if Deathstroke's not going to have anything else to do later on down the road? Why would either of them want to come back and do it unless they're going to have more to do? Because
I don't see that being the case. I think you're right with the way you're thinking about it.
Right. So what that's pretty much my theory, though, is like the only reason, if I would could put any words on it, because I feel like I'm just hogging the mic here. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. But my theory, it only makes sense to me that they're going to be setting up more stuff with both of these characters, for instance, like Joker and Deathstroke, because we obviously knew, like, if the Ben stuff is true, they already had plans for Deathstroke in some capacity. So the only other thing I'll touch on real quick, and then I want to hear your guys' thought on this, is like with this rumored Ben Affleck Batman like series or movie, this HBO Max deal or whatever, it goes on to say that the rumors are showing that it's going to delve into the backstory of Robin and explore Robin's death and like how it affected Ben Affleck's Batman and everything. So that actually kind of fits if you're talking about Jared Leto coming back and them setting more stuff up. So that does add, because that's kind of where my headspace was going once I heard Joker was coming back. I was like, but why would Joker need to come back? He would serve no point to the Justice League story. But then when the news of the Deathstroke stuff came out, I was like, they have to be setting more stuff up to do with them in the future. Like maybe Ben Affleck finally get that movie and blah blah blah. The only thing that makes sense. And if they're going to explore more of the backstory and do like a kind of like a Snyder cut version of Ben Affleck's Batman, like give him like instead of doing the Ben Affleck Batman movie, if he does like a 4-part miniseries or something that lets him even expand more on his Batman character and explore what happened to Robin, then Jared Leto's inclusion would make total sense because, as we see from the suit here, Joker had something to do with this Robin's death at some point.
You'd think.
You know what I mean? So this all is like very exciting for me. Rumors, at least on this Ben Affleck stuff, but in all honesty, it's the only thing that really makes sense as to why Deathstroke and Joker would be coming back. In my opinion, I don't see what purpose they could serve in Justice League by themselves. So, what do you guys think here? Am I crazy for thinking that I would almost, if I had to like put money down on them actually like having future plans with both those characters, I would put the money down on it because I don't see what else. I don't know why they would come back just to do a throwaway scene, like because Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke, for instance, we've only seen him in an end credit scene in the Justice League movie. That was obviously to set something up. It's not like he hasn't been in his own thing. It wouldn't be like Superman coming in at the end of a movie just to do it, right? Like Stan Lee cameo or something. Like that's kind of a different thing. Like why would they come back if they don't have future plans?
I think for one, it's awesome that Deathstroke will be coming back, and I sincerely hope that they definitely expand on that role a little bit because who doesn't like Deathstroke? I mean, come on. And the Joker part's cool too. So I hope you're right. That's what I would say. I hope you're right.
Well, yeah, I want to be right because I want that Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Yeah.
And plus, it would be good to see, like, if they were to actually do the backstory thing, if the rumors, if we want to go and say it's going to be true that they're going to do some miniseries like for Ben's Batman and explore what happened to Robin and everything, that's a pretty interesting like story in its own, like in itself. But that's new. Like that's the thing too. Like this is obviously like new stuff for the Snyder Cut, and like I said, there's like no reason. What is Joker gonna do about Darkseid or Steppenwolf or even a Parademon? Like Joker ain't going toe to toe with Parademon. Like he would only serve to set more stuff up with Batman, nothing else, right?
I may be wrong, but I thought the tease at the end of Justice League with Deathstroke and Luther on Luther's boat, I thought that was originally a Snyder scene. That Snyder had originally done that, and they went ahead and threw it in at the end of that movie, even though Whedon had done it. And I'm trying my best to recollect here. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I think I only saw it the one time. But I believe Luther says something about it's time for an Injustice League, or it's time for me to have my own league or something.
Yeah, he says it's time for us to have a league of our own.
A league of our own. Okay, yeah. Thank you. I knew there was a league reference in there he made about. So it very well could be him setting up an Injustice League, in which case, if maybe this news isn't so much about these characters and how they influence Snyder's cut, but maybe they influence Snyder's follow-up to whatever this is. Maybe they're already discussing with Snyder what's our future project's going to look like. You know, if they've got Ben signed up for Affleck, a Batflick series, maybe they're also trying to get Snyder to do another Justice League Part 2 miniseries or whatever.
That would be cool.
And maybe the reason that this Snyder cut has gotten so, I don't know what the right word, inflated it's now this 4-hour series is because he's reworking the story to actually finish the Apocalypse stuff within the confines of this series so that they can move to an Injustice series after this or something along those lines. Because I do think that you're exactly right that they're not going to pay these guys to come back because they're already working with a budget, a pretty big budget from what they've said. And I don't think they're going to just start throwing random people in just for the sake of throwing random people in. I think HBO, this is still an unproven commodity to HBO. As much as they know there's a vocal fan base out there, and they have a good deal of confidence that fan base will support this. There's no proof of this yet. There's no data to show that it's going to boost subscriptions. It's going to retain subscriptions. So
That's true.
Until they're able to actually do that, I don't see them throwing that money at these things just for the sake of throwing money at it.
Right. And that's the thing too, like the Snyder Cut in general, like you said, like it's not even a proven thing. And like going in with that, for both Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League, even though it wasn't really Zack Snyder's Justice League, but with the two films that he did, he was 100% responsible for, Man of Steel and BVS. Half the fans didn't like it, and half the critics didn't like it. They were both divisive movies. You know what I mean? Like neither one of them were unanimously loved. Like I don't know why, because Man of Steel is amazing.
Man of Steel was great.
Man of Steel is
So good.
Incredible movie. BVS had its issues, but I liked it overall. So it's odd to like for anyone to assume that like all of a sudden everyone's just gonna like this version of Justice League, because like
his armor looks so good in that picture.
Justice League, like what happened in Justice League aside, like it stands to reason that this Zack Snyder version is going to be just as divisive as the other ones, rather than all of a sudden all the critics who didn't like what Zack Snyder was doing, now they love it for whatever reason. It could happen because he could just make an incredible like movie, but how likely is that if he's already like it was so divisive with the other two? Like, so it is kind of interesting that they would want to go forward with like setting anything up more to do with the Snyderverse, just because it has been as divisive as it is. As much as like I love Man of Steel, and I'm still waiting on Man of Steel 2, Warner Brothers. Like I don't know what's going on with that, but
second that, yeah. Let's get that going, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, come on. Like Man of Steel is so good, dude. It's just so good.
Plus, Henry Cavill is such a good Superman. He is the perfect Superman for this era. And why in the world they don't just how they're dumb enough not to recognize that, and not just pump him into whatever Superman role they can put him in every DC movie. I don't know. That just
it's like they don't want to. Well, the only reason they don't though is just because like Man of Steel was so divisive. But that's the thing is, like, even despite that being so divisive, there is like you don't hear anybody out there like not wanting Henry to be a Superman anymore.
Oh, it's never about Henry. It's about that story and about the violence at the end of it and Superman killing somebody. But everybody seems, at least as far as I know, everybody seems to love Henry Cavill in that role. And how they can't make a successful that would have been like Marvel deciding after Iron Man 1, we don't care for Robert Downey Jr. as much, or we wish he would do better in the role, so we're going to look other ways. It's like, why? You've got the perfect actor cast. Why would you? Why would you ever?
Henry Cavill was
not
for that role.
It's like they should be doing more. That's why it always bummed me out too. Like when they had the Shazam cameo, like Henry couldn't come in to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
To show him, like they had literally like his suit standing there. It was him, but it was supposedly scheduling conflicts and why he couldn't do it. But like.
That's a one-day shoot. You can't tell me they can't go on location wherever he is and get him to do that one shot.
It's because it's BS. It was because of the contract stuff. Like they don't know if they want to move forward with doing more stuff, and if he was going to come back, they'd have to give him a contract. And it's just like, dude, He's perfect as Superman. Lock him in.
Yeah, just make
Everybody
him
loves
Superman.
him as Superman, even if they didn't like the Man of Steel movie. I don't know anybody out there who's like, that Henry Cavill just really sucks as Superman, though. It's like, nah, he's Superman.
He is Superman.
He
Yeah.
is Superman. But the
There's
other thing
Warner
too.
Brothers. Oh,
What
go
were you
ahead.
saying? No, because
No,
I'm
go ahead.
gonna switch
Okay,
topics, so I
well,
don't.
Warner Brothers is just they're all over the map right now, and you know, part of that I think is the corporate structure. They just were recently purchased by AT&T,
Oh
so
yeah.
you've got AT&T coming in and putting their mark on Warner Brothers and how they want things run, and you know, it sounds like from some of the articles I've read that AT&T is really like they trimming the fat or whatever,
Mhm.
like trying to make the company leaner but still make the same profits. So they've got all that turmoil going on, but it's like they don't have a clear vision of what they want to do. And right now, it honestly to me it appears that they're trying to separate the DC EU as it was known away from the theaters and maybe make it more of an HBO Max deal, and then leave the theater stuff for more of these standalone kind of unconnected movies like Joker, you know, Suicide Squad. We'll see how much that ties in, but I think they're trying to diversify more and not have things be so interconnected in at least in the theater.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly what I was gonna segue into, was what if, like, I think it would behoove both HBO Max and, I mean, I guess really just HBO Max. Well, yeah, it would behoove HBO Max especially, I think, but it would also really help the overall direction of Warner Brothers and their DC film franchise, because as we've seen and as you've mentioned, like they made Joker and that made $1 billion. You know, they made Aquaman for all intents and purposes, even though it was Jason Momoa, it had one reference to the Justice League movie, and if you literally would have blinked or yawned, you would have missed it because they just mentioned Steppenwolf one time, and that's the only connection it had was they mentioned Steppenwolf. So like it was for all intents and purposes a completely standalone movie. Then the Wonder Woman movie, pretty much a standalone movie. So it seems like they're having success obviously when they just focus on these standalone movies. So it could
Mhm.
make I feel like it would make sense for them if they want to continue the Snyderverse to make it an HBO Max like exclusive place for it to produce that content, because that's a huge draw, even though it's unproven how successful it's going to be. Like we were mentioning before, like if the Snyder Cut, if all of Zack Snyder's movies were as divisive as they are, it might not really make a whole lot of sense for them to dump a ton of money into, the to expanding upon that in HBO Max. But at the same time, like HBO Max is going to be is kind of starving for content in a lot of ways, and I feel like that'd be a huge draw if they were able to say like we're going to continue on with Ben Affleck's Batman and a 4-part miniseries or something along those lines, and then maybe even branch out and do like, because they are doing the Green Lantern thing, and we don't know if that's going to be connected into anything. I don't know if it would even connect into a Batman thing. I don't see why it would, but like I don't know. Like HBO Max could use some stuff, and like I don't really think that the Warner Brothers needs to do like the MCU stuff. Like they can do their own thing, and I don't
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll just add, I think that when it comes to streaming, that you have not only the need for content to draw people in and have people watch, but you also need to have content that people will stick around for, that people want to
For sure.
always have access to.
Right.
So for me, for example, I love the Marvel stuff. I love all the Marvel shows and stuff. We've talked about this before. I have a Disney Plus subscription and I've had it since the jump because I want all that Marvel stuff. I want to be able to access it whenever I want. So I don't drop in and out based on when the series, just because a new series is coming out, I want to see, and then when I'm done, I drop it. I keep it year round because I want to be able to, like, if I feel like watching the animated Spider-Man show from the '90s, I want to be able to pull that up and start watching it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe what DC's thinking by shuffling the Snyderverse stuff off to HBO Max is that and I'm not saying this in a derogatory way in any shape or form, but the Snyderverse fans, all these people that were clamoring for the Snyder Cut for the what 3-4 years since Justice League came out, they're so rabid, they're so dedicated to this particular vision that maybe Warner Brothers is saying, okay, they may not cover the cost of this stuff in month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, but in month 12, when they've stuck around for 12 months so that they have access to this whenever they want, maybe that's where they start seeing the returns, and that's where that cost benefit analysis is coming from. Just the
Yeah.
rabid nature and the understanding that these people are going to stick with the service as long as they have the content.
For sure.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I would love to see. And you have some like variables in there though too, because like Wonder Woman is coming out in theaters. Obviously, Wonder Woman 84 and everything, and it's obviously a part of the Snyderverse in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'd still have that. Then like Suicide Squad 2 is also like its own thing. But it's tied in, but it's also like kind of its own thing going to theaters. I don't know like really where else they would go with it on expanding on more of the Snyderverse stuff, because Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash, is also having his own movie come out. So they're gonna like presumably do like a theater release for that as well. So like other than the Ben Affleck Batman like stuff and like going on and doing like 4, 6, 8 part miniseries, just really expanding into that. I don't really know what else they could do with it. In all honesty, like other than the Batman thing, like as far as like
Well,
exclusively continuing the Snyderverse, unless they did a
you've got
follow up to Justice League.
you've got Cyborg, who's still off the table, who doesn't have a major motion picture. So, and Zach apparently has a real fondness for Ray Fisher in that character, and called him the heart of his version,
Right.
the Justice League. So maybe there's something that could be done with him. Plus, you've also, I mean, all the talk is that the Flash movie, Flashpoint, or whatever they end up calling it, is going to blow open the multiverse and have these different iterations of these characters. So you can have Wonder Woman 84 and Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman on the big screen, but then you can also have the same version of her character in a Snyderverse miniseries or something like that. And so they could
Yeah.
run concurrently as long as people are willing to buy into the fact that while they're the same, they're also slightly different.
Yeah, no, and I could totally see if they just wanted to keep telling the like, because we all know like initially Justice League was supposed to be 2 parts. There was supposed to be 2 movies, and then Ben was going to have his movie. That was really the only. And then there was supposed to be like rumors initially that the Flash movie was going to be a Flash and Cyborg movie.
Yeah.
That kind of went. Like, Flash movie's been through like 8 different directors now though, and been delayed for like almost as long as Black Adam is. I feel like at this point, but I mean, other than like I could see him maybe doing Justice League 2. Like it's just that's just like a huge venture, like expense wise, like for them to put on HBO Max and to not. I mean, I guess it really just depends on how they do it. Because like I said in the past, since they're doing the Snyder Cut as a series in the books, financially, they can technically, even if they're spending the same amount of money, they break it down per episode. So it looks better on the books for them as far as the
Sure.
expense goes. So, I mean, I guess if they wanted to do a Justice League 2, like a Snyder's like actual version of Justice League 2 and just continue that on, I mean, I'm totally on board with it. I would love to see, you know, the end of
Apocalypse.
yeah, I'd love to see Apocalypse and Darkseid, and because we know Darkseid's going to be in this version of Justice League in the Snyder Cut, but not that much. It was supposed to be like more in that second follow up is like at least what the rumors have been for it. So I would love to see that, and then obviously the end tag of you had commented on with Lex and Wade here, or Slade rather.
It's
Wade.
Wade.
Yeah, Wade.
You get
because
Well,
that-
Wade was kind of
He was a rip off of
Wade
Slade,
is
so
Slade,
it's
yeah.
like I mean, it's the
Wait,
same
what? Who did come first? Slade, Wade,
Deathstroke.
Oh,
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Okay, yeah.
Deathstroke is early 80s.
Yeah.
I believe Deadpool's early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like
total ripoff.
it's a complete. They are completely different characters. It's just the look and the name was ripped
Sure.
off. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean that's
Mercenary.
yeah, completely
Exactly.
different. Like, but that's why it's kind of weird that they even went with that because it's not like they made a carbon copy. Like, so it's like, why
No.
would?
I mean, you'd think they could come up with a different name. Like, but
Yeah, you would think, but I don't know.
maybe they did it on purpose. I mean,
Maybe. I mean, he has a meta character, so they could have just done it for the shits and giggles of it.
oh,
Who
for sure.
knows? But no, I would love to see like if they want to continue. I think it would be great for HBO Max to have something like that, right? Because HBO has always been successful, and everybody, you know, Game of Thrones is on HBO, Sopranos, all these things. It's always been good, but HBO Max is still new. So like then, and they don't really have anything. There was like that Ridley Scott show that just came out that was like there's only they have a very small batch of exclusive things, and like they were really pushing, especially we talked about this before, like when they were marketing HBO Max, they were leaning into like DC stuff and like it's all here, you know, and like Barbera, you know, they were advertising brands exclusively to say like this is where you're gonna the only place you're gonna be able to get it is right here. They spent like $250 million on getting the rights for South Park. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yes, insane stuff. But I could see continuing the Snyderverse as a very like lucrative on it for HBO Max at least, a very lucrative thing. Because like despite because I do have to say too, like despite them being divisive, like Man of Steel and BVS, they still both made like I think Man of Steel made $600 to $700 million, and then BVS made a little over $800 million, and then
Yep.
like Justice League was just it kind of bombed, but the movie, you know, that aside, despite those two initial installments by Zack being as divisive as they were, they did make a ton of money. Like, because I know everyone expects like, oh, this didn't make $1 billion, so it wasn't successful. It's like, no, that's not really how it works. You know, like Man of Steel was made for probably around $200 million, and it made 6 or 7. Like it was a huge profit. You know, it was a
Yeah.
good thing. So I mean, I could totally see, at least in my mind, it being lucrative if they want to continue it, and if they keep the budget down and do like the 20 million per episode thing. If they went with that route, made them longer event things, because if they do like, because they're going to do like the week to week release for Snyder Cut and everything when it comes out, so like they could build up a lot of buzz and hype over the weeks of like doing the Snyder Cut thing, and then if they were to do a Justice League 2 like 4-part episode again, and they give like Ben, let him do a 4-part thing, it's like you're getting a month worth of content out of these things. And if they're going to be like super high produced with like the same quality that you would get in a feature film, I think would be like a huge boon for HBO Max. Like it'd just be like one more thing that you can just have like that exclusive draw to. There is some sort of clamoring for it. We've seen with all the release of Snyder Cut crew of people out there. So I think it'd be a good idea for them to move forward. In all honesty,
Oh, for sure.
like I don't know what the chances are that would happen, but again, I don't see any other reason why you bring them back unless you're doing more with them. Like and these two people, like the Deathstroke and Joker, it makes no sense,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I got to cover on this, guys. You got anything else you want to add on it?
I think we
I think we covered everything.
Good deal. Well, then the question is, guys, what do you think about this news of Jared Leto's Joker coming back? We got Jared Leto's Joker's coming back. Deathstroke's coming back. Rumors of Ben Affleck, coming back as Batman for an HBO Max miniseries thing. In my mind, the fact that Deathstroke and Joker are coming back, it lends a lot more credence to this being, true in some way. So but that's just me. I don't see what other, again, what other reason? What's Jared Leto's Joker gonna do against Darkseid, and what's Deathstroke even gonna do, against Darkseid? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to be in it unless they were gonna set up something with Batman. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you're kind of leaning in that same vein as me, and if you think that HBO Max is gonna continue the Snyderverse stuff beyond Justice League, because like all signs are kind of pointing to that at this point. We're all kind of in agreement that's really the only place they seem to be going with it. But whatever it is, guys, you let us know down in the comment section below.